Hi, this is Jill. Early in the morning, I'm an early riser. So I'm just gonna give a little tutorial on watercolor. I have little experience with watercolor, but during this time I have found it very meditative and also pairing that with 40s music. So I'm gonna just show you what I've been doing. So hopefully you can see that. Okay, so I'm gonna get to show you some examples. This is the first one I did, and what it basically is that you're drawing shapes on top of each other, and then you're erasing part of it so that you make new shapes, and then you can use masking tape, for example here, where you actually line the page with watercolor with tape so that it creates a frame for the watercolor. So that's an example of a final copy. I'm going to show you a couple examples. That one didn't come out so well, but it's a nice morning meditative practice. Gets you sort of out of yourself. This is one that I did, sort of finished up today. And this is one from, I don't know, maybe a few days ago. But as you can see, like where you do the masking tape, it actually creates a nice frame thanks to Judy Rifka. And I'm going to show you basically how to do it. So if you look here, you'll see lots of shapes that I've drawn on top of each other, and I do it in pencil. So then I start taking the eraser and I make other shapes. So maybe shapes that are not intended but are the result of interacting lines. So let's say I want to erase here so that the circle here becomes sort of like a eaten pizza, and then I'm gonna erase here. You want to sort of overdo overlapping lines and then simplify the lines by doing some erasing, and then you create unusual shapes. Here I might erase over here. I'm gonna maybe erase it over here so that you can have, see, this shape takes some dominance over the shape underneath it, but then you could create new shapes. Like here, here with the circle, it's actually cutting out, and then like I might erase over here. And so as you see, like the shapes are actually overlapping. You create new shapes by the erasure. So I'm gonna erase here, and you can pretty much do it. If you don't like what you've done, you can always redo it. I actually was doing this in college, so that's actually where I started doing this practice, although it's been a long time since I've done it. But for some reason I was just drawn to it. I think because the news is just so disturbing and negative, and you need some sort of meditative practice that keeps you engaged and involved in your senses. So this is very visual. And also you can enjoy it by turning on some music. That's just something that I've been doing. So as you can see, you have some interacting shapes, different shapes, and you just continue that. Then you take watercolors, which are over here, and it could be any kind of watercolors. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. I probably bought those colors at the dollar store. And you know, at the dollar store or at Target, you can also get a pack of brushes. So for this, and again thanks to Judy Rifka, I either use a spray bottle or a brush. And what I'll do is, after I've erased the shapes and keep the shapes that I'm happy with, I'll actually sort of go over with either the spray bottle with water or the paintbrush with water that's on it. So then, in that way, the watercolor, actually, it'll look more like this, where it bleeds a little bit. Maybe if you want the colors more stronger, you sort of dip it in the watercolor for a longer period of time. So I'm just going to give you an example of how I might start this, and then you have the various stages. For some reason, I'm really drawn to orange in these days. I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe I'll just do this one. So if you want your colors stronger, then you might dip the paintbrush in the paint longer and there's less water involved. And then also as the watercolors dry, it's lighter. It'll appear lighter on the surface. This is just like a pack of, let me see, I don't even know, the top came off, but like a pack of watercolor papers and a little pad, and I just keep doing them every day. And it's sort of my morning meditative process. You can get it from Amazon. You can support Michael's or other art supply stores. So that's an example of just, just my first, and then if I want it darker, I'll sort of dip it in the paint a little more, make sure there's a tip. I heard that doing a round brush with I think a 12 gauge is a good one to do. I just, basically I sort of look for the brush where I can get a tip as I'm painting, from the dollar store, nothing fancy. And these are all accessible. Items that you could buy. Oops. So that's an example of the beginning of it. And so that's me signing off. Hope you have fun. This is just sort of my watercolor in the morning. I turn on 40s music or Stevie Wonder, and I really enjoy a morning practice. See you later.